let's talk about that just for a minute, Scott Bloomquist. Now, my disclaimer is he's weird, he's different, blah, blah, blah. But, and I've said this before, Einstein, all the greatest are different. Rumley.
Yeah.
Is Bloomquist, does he fall in that category as a brilliant, weird man?
Yeah, he definitely, the way he thinks about anything in life is way different than anybody I've ever been around. I think a lot of people have seen that through his podcast and everything he's done. But at the end of the day, he's a super nice guy. And he's, people kind of look at him as like hard to approach and that type of stuff. But he's very nice guy to talk to anybody. He's great with my kids and stuff. Like, he's just a really good guy. He did a lot for me. So that was, to travel up and down the road with him for basically 6 months was something that probably very few have ever done. But to drive his race car, it was, big accomplishment for me to even have that honor to do it. But yeah, I mean, it just very smart guy, thinks about things way different than we do. And I think that's what made him so successful for a long time, is like, when you're thinking about the little things, there's so far in depth that he would go into the smallest things, whether it's how springs travel and the hysteresis in springs, to we were pulling rear ends out almost every other week to check the straightness of rear ends and mess with that. I mean, there was just so many little minor details that he just crossed that nobody else, I don't even think thinks about.
You went to school.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even about tricks of the trade. It's about the way you work. Pulling rear ends out, that would be something somebody at a local racetrack might do once a year. Maybe never take their rear end out. So his work ethic is pretty hardcore.
Yeah, and, there's no shortage of work, but like, it's always late at night. I think everybody kind of knows that, how Scott, works is like, we'll get, home from a race or whatever, and it doesn't mean nothing for him to work till 4 or 5 in the morning. So, and he just sits there and sips on his Crown Royal and just works, So, yeah, it's pretty impressive. He's just very smart with tires, grooving tires, siping tires. He had ways to sipe tires and groove tires per racetrack. And I mean, he has a wall at his shop that is just full of, tires that he won races on. So he's got them labeled like, this was a Batesville tire, this was a Tri-City tire. He can pull it down and look at how it wore and be like, okay, this is how I'm going to groove my stuff for when I go back to Batesville or wherever. So just kind of crazy. He had ways that like, he would teach me like how I need to hold the grinder for different places we were going, like just crazy stuff, like.
I'm afraid I might have messed up a lot of my tires. I feel like it was funny though. I have ergonomics the way I use my grinder.
Yeah, so he would round edges at some places he goes, and he makes sure the edges are sharp. Other, it's just pretty wild. He's just so in depth on everything.
Well, my friend, listen. You've overcome that. You overcame that horrible accident going through Louisville. Any effects? I mean, last year you were on your way to your 4th UMP national championship. You had a horrible accident with your truck and trailer going through Louisville. How is everybody doing?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. I mean, I'm good. The only side effects really I have is short-term memory loss. I felt like I struggled a little bit with that before. We call it CRS, but yeah, now they say that could take a year to 2 years to really come back. I had a skull fracture right in my temple area, and they said that's where your short-term memory is stored, and that was where my brain bruising was and everything. So just getting through that is more than anything. But as far as effects of driving, everything I do daily, I have no issues there. So my dad, he's good. He's definitely sore. He struggles to get up and down sometimes. So it probably took a harder toll on him than anybody. And then Mason's good. I mean, he had a lot of bruising and stuff on his head, but he's good to go. So he's still with me working every day in the shop. They're trying to get everything ready right now. We're getting ready to go to Kansas today. So they're trying to get all that finished up, but as far as effects, we're all good. I appreciate everybody, man. Racing family was incredible during that time. So many people did so much for me, and I still learn about things even today, like people that did stuff or did this and that. And it was pretty cool to see everything was done for us, and I can't appreciate that enough. And moving forward, just right now I don't have a modified rig or anything. I'm still dealing with all insurance and everything else. As far as that was 8 months ago, I still ain't got everything figured out there. So kind of sucks, but it's just part of it.
So it was a catastrophic event. I feel like you're still Nick.
Yeah.
But are you different now because of not so much of the wreck itself, but just the catastrophic nature of it? Are you different?
Yeah, for sure. I just it definitely changed my outlook on life. And I got 2 kids and stuff, and I want to be there for them, and changed my outlook on a lot of things for sure. Like that night, I tell people I was asleep in the passenger seat when we crashed, and so I don't remember any of it. Like I woke up in a hospital in ICU 3 or 4 days later or whatever, and I don't recall anything that happened in that whole time. I tell people, like, if I died that night, I would have never knew the difference. Like, would have never knew. I just would have never woke up. So it was pretty crazy, just to sit back and think about that and everything that could have happened. So we got very lucky for sure. And just to even walk away from it, all of us at some point. Dad broke his back, and then me with skull fracture, and then Mason was just bruised up. So I think a lot of people don't understand what happened. I need to kind of touch on this. Is like basically nothing happened as far as like Mason didn't fall asleep, nothing stupid as far as that goes. We had a truck that was on the shoulder, and it was a tractor trailer. It wasn't haul on a trailer, so it was just bobtailing. And so you got the little 2 red lights on tail lights, and he was in limp mode, only running 10 mile an hour. And he come out into our lane to go out around like a exit ramp or something. And like I said, I was asleep, so I don't know. But he come out into our lane, and we ended up hitting him. And so that was what caused the crash. And so it was just nothing that we did wrong or anything, and just part of driving late at night, I guess. It's just something that all of us racers do, and we're probably lucky it doesn't happen more often, and we got lucky that night.
Right. We've had some tough things that happen in the sport. We lost Davey Allison in a helicopter wreck. We lost Alan Quickie in a plane wreck. We lost Rob Moroso in a car wreck. Nick, God works in mysterious ways. You were on your way to the 4th UMP modified championship, but months later, your car owner calls you up, and now you're living your dream. So
everything happens for a reason. So pretty cool.
Positive mental attitude. We got to look forward and well, listen, my friend, you're young. You're only 31 years old. Congratulations to all your success. I appreciate you helping me live my dirt modified dream. You know that I started in late models. I asked you if I could buy a car. I don't rough you up because I understand competition. I do my own deal, as you know, and I'm happy to know that I run the stiffest left rear shock. I win.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just been cool working with you, and like I've told people, like having you in the pit area, whether you run my car or not, it just helps the morale of the whole pit area.
Yeah. Well, thank you, buddy.